Sky Pirates is a semi-cooperative game where all players can lose, but only one player may win. The game holds up to 4 players and can be played solo against the Rydaran themselves. Each player receives rocketeers, airships, and flags that they'll use to play the game. The goal of the game is to be the first with a pirate empire worth 6 points. Each flag that you place on the game is worth 1 point. Additionally, you'll be trying to get medals by fighting against the Rydaran. Each medal you receive is also worth 1 point. To begin the game, you'll place a number of region tiles on the table according to the number of players. You should have 6 region tiles for a 1-player game, 9 for a 2-player game, 12 for a 3-player game, and 16 for a 4-player game. Arrange these region tiles in offset rows. Two of the corner region tiles should be placed face down as you set up the board. These tiles are unknown. When a player moves a rocketeer onto a face-down region tile, they may flip it up and place it in whatever orientation they see fit. Region tiles have spaces on them, connected by jet streams. Some spaces are resource islands and come in 3 types: steam, silver, scrap, brown, and spark, red. The gaps between region tiles are known as airspaces. Airspaces only exist between at least 2 region tiles. When setting up the Rydaran, it's important to check the numbers on the various face-up region tiles. Place a Rydaran obelisk on the region tile with the highest number showing. Place a Doombringer token on the highest numbered region tile that does not have an obelisk on it. Place a Rydaran warship in an empty airspace that is both adjacent to the obelisk and is as close to the Doombringer token as possible. Continue to place warships in the empty airspaces around the obelisk in clockwise order, starting from the first. You should have 1 warship for each player. The player who most recently boiled water is the starting player and receives the starting player cog. After the board and the Rydaran are set up, each player can place their initial flags and rocketeers. Starting with the player that has the starting player cog and continuing clockwise, each player may place 1 rocketeer and 1 flag on an empty resource island that does not have an obelisk on it. Play begins with the starting player and continues clockwise. After each player has taken a turn, the Rydaran take their turn. On your turn, you can take a variety of actions. You may do them in any order, and you can choose to take them as often as you have the resources to do so. Once per turn, you may take a rocketeer, airship, or flag from your supply and place it on the board. Rocketeers can only be placed on resource islands with flags that you control. When you place an airship, you must place it in an airspace connected to a flag you control. Flags are placed on resource islands where you have at least 1 rocketeer. Flags cannot be placed on a space if opposing pieces are present. Additionally, there can only be 1 flag on a resource island at any given time. On your turn, you may move all of your rocketeers and all of your airships. Rocketeers move 2 spaces and can move between any 2 spaces that are connected by jetstream. Rocketeers may move on to any player's airship, provided that they are connected to it. Rocketeers may not move on to empty airspaces, nor may they move from one airship to another airship. Airships move from one airspace to an adjacent airspace. Airspaces are connected, as you can see here, in a grid, but you may also move along the outside of the board. Notice that an airspace only exists if there's at least 2 region tiles touching it. When an airship moves, all the Rocketeers on the airship move with it. Airships may not end their turn on an airspace containing another airship or a Rydarian warship. You may spend a steam token to move a Rocketeer or airship one space. To initiate a combat, choose a space and commit at least one Rocketeer to the combat. You may commit any number of Rocketeers to the combat, provided they are on or connected to the chosen space. Any player may commit to the offense or defense of a combat. Offense commits first, and then defense commits next. Each Rocketeer may only participate in one combat per turn, but airships may participate in every combat that they are connected to. After players have committed, compare the strength of the offense and the defense. Offense and defense have strength equal to the number of Rocketeers and connected airships committed to either side. Additionally, offensive players add 1 for every flag on a Spark Island they control. Defensive players add 1 for every flag on a Scrap Island they control. If offense is greater than or equal to defense, the current player may discard a Rocketeer or flag on the chosen space. Additionally, the current player may repurpose a Spark flag to add 2 to the offense of an attack. Any player may spend a power token to add 1 to either side of a combat, even one they are not participating in. Flags on the board are worth 1 victory point. Additionally, each flag gives you a benefit depending on which type of resource island it occupies. On your turn, you can discard a flag to receive its repurposed benefits. Steam resource islands benefit movement. At the beginning of your turn, you take 1 steam token for every flag you control on a steam island. You can also discard a steam flag to take all 4 steam tokens. Please note there are only 4 steam tokens, and you may not have more than that at any given time. Steam tokens are used to move your pieces. You may spend 1 steam token to move a Rocketeer or airship 1 space. Flags on Spark Islands benefit offensive combat. When you commit pieces to the offense of a combat, add 1 for every flag that you have on a Spark Island. You can also discard a Spark flag to add 2 to the next combat you participate on your turn. You may discard multiple flags to increase that benefit. Flags on Scrap resource islands benefit defense in combat and add a little utility. When you commit pieces to a combat, add 1 to the defense of that combat for every flag you control on a Scrap Island. You can discard a Scrap flag and place a Rocketeer on the space that the flag was. If you have a power token, you may choose to spend it for a variety of effects. You can spend a power token to move a Rocketeer or an airship 1 space, like a steam token. At any time, you may spend a power token to add 1 to either side of a combat. You may do this at any time, regardless of whether or not you participate in the combat. On your turn, you may spend 4 power tokens to receive a medal. Each medal is worth 1 point, and each player needs at least 1 medal in order to win the game. To get a power token or a medal, you must aid in the fight against the Rydarian. After each player has taken a turn, the Rydarian will take their turn. There are 3 parts to the Rydarian turn. The first is the Malevolence roll, the second is a move, and the third is an attack. You'll take these actions in order. The first thing that you'll do on the Rydarian turn is make a Malevolence roll. Roll the 4-sided die, and if you roll less than the number of obelisks that are on the board, the roll is successful. If the Malevolence roll is successful, after the Rydarian move and attack, they will move and attack again. When you move a warship, you'll select the warship that is furthest from the Doombringer token and move it onto an airspace that is both adjacent to an existing warship and is as close to the Doombringer token as possible. If multiple warships are equally distant to the Doombringer token, select the one that is most counterclockwise in relationship to the Doombringer token. If a warship may move onto multiple airspaces that are equally close to the Doombringer token, move the warship into a space that is the most clockwise of the options. Rydarian warships may never occupy the same space, and in a single movement action, you only move one Rydarian warship. If a warship moves onto the same airspace as an airship, immediately place an obelisk on that airship. An airship with an obelisk or a warship on it is trapped, as is every other piece on that airship. Trapped pieces may not move. Whenever you move a Rydarian warship, once you place it into its airspace, roll the warship die. The warship will attack the corresponding region tile to the number that you rolled. If the number does not point to a tile that does not have an obelisk on it, turn it clockwise until it points to a region tile that does not have an obelisk on it. When a warship attacks, it adds to the offense of the attack 2 for every Rydarian piece on the board. This includes itself, every warship, and every obelisk on the board. Additionally, after each player has committed to the defense of the combat, you'll roll the warship die and add that to the attack. A warship attacks an entire region tile. Players may commit rocketeers and airships that are on or adjacent to the region tile to add to the defense of the attack. If the offense is greater than defense, place a Rydarian obelisk on the region tile. Obelisks trap pieces. Any pieces that are on a region tile that also has an obelisk on it may not move, may not be attacked or attack, do not generate points or give any bonuses whatsoever. They are functionally non-existent. If an obelisk is placed on the same region tile as the Doombringer token, move the Doombringer token to the highest numbered region tile that does not have an obelisk on it.